Back in April, the ABC published this article. They said that trans women's participation in sport has been framed as an election issue. This is what some trans athletes think. Now, the article was found by the ABC itself to be materially misleading and to have breached the ABC's own standards for accuracy and impartiality. But it's still online. Senator Claire Chandler, who's been a bit of a champion on this issue, hasn't she? Well, she wrote to the chair, Ita Buttrose, pointing out a dozen or so inaccuracies and what she regarded as a hostile position from the author, calling for the ABC to, quote, reflect on the finding that relevant research indicates that trans women retain physical advantages over females. Well, common sense, but not so common at the ABC. Liberal Senator for Tasmania, Claire Chandler, she joins me now. Well, Claire, good on you. You wrote to Ita Buttrose. She responded back. What did she say to you, and are you satisfied with her response?
Well, thanks very much for having me on the show, Peter. And one of the things that Ms Buttrose admitted in the letter was that there had been some serious editorial lapses in relation to this story that was on the ABC website during the election campaign. And that's all well and good. But the reason I wrote to the chair of the ABC was to understand why the story was written in the way it was and passed editorial checks and balances in the first place. And I don't think there can be any doubt that there is a huge cultural problem at the ABC if they can't even bring themselves to write a story that recognises that women and girls have an entitlement to single-sex sports. So I think the real question now for the ABC, now that they've recognised that there were some editorial issues with the story, is to figure out how they became so captive to this position in the first place when they now recognise that the science says that there is a significant advantage to trans women on the playing field, which is what I and many others have been saying for quite some time. And the other big story that they should be following is how so many sporting organisations in this country have become captive to the same idea.
We have, though, seen some revision of that view throughout the year. I mean, we had a very strong stand by swimming internationally. That's now filtering down to the sport at a domestic level. I do laugh with the ABC. You know, they want to quote, climate change, so-called science back at people, you know, listen to the science, science is settled. But in terms of biological science, they twist and contort things. Why is the article still online?
Oh, well, I think that's a question for the ABC, Peter, and I note that they have issued some small corrections to the article. And look, this is one of the reasons why I thought it was important to raise the response that I received today. But like I say, the question that we have to ask is how has the ABC come so captive to these positions? And I think there are a couple of reasons why that's the case. Obviously, there is a culture in newsrooms, not just at the ABC, but at a few different media outlets around the country that shows that they're very unwilling to report about these issues, and they're very captive to what is popular on Twitter and you know, deplatforming people that put forward views that they don't like. But the other issue that the ABC has is its very close relationship with the group called ACON, which advises it on its diversity and inclusion program. And this is the very same organisation that pushes that women don't have an entitlement to their own sporting competitions. So I think there's a very clear reason why they're promoting these ideas. But like I say, they really need to address these cultural problems.